Hi, I'm Andrew with Full Metal Fab Works, and I'm going to show you a couple quick tips and tricks for assembling, installing, and adjusting your ZSR Trail Doors for the 2007 to 2017 Jeep JK Wrangler. We'll get started with some latch assembly. First, I want to take notice that the latches are left and right hand, meaning that the integrated rubber bumper and the latching mechanism are on opposite sides for the two different latches. You'll want to assemble the latches so that the rubber bumper is always to the outside of the door, which you can tell which is outside of the door because that's where your aluminum overlay will go using the weld nuts here and here. So this front door, for example, is a driver's side door, and if we were to put this latch in first, you can see this is the outside and the rubber bumper would be on the inside of the door and the latch on the outside. So this would be your correct latch for this door. All right, now that we've got determined which latch is for which door, we'll go ahead and show you how to assemble the actuator cable and latches themselves. And using the same two latches from the earlier example, we're going to want to use the longer cable for this front door, which is a driver's side, and then we'll assemble a rear door, and since it's an imposing latch to this one, it'll be for the passenger side rear door. And to assemble these, you're going to want to use your cable retainer clips. On this end, the barrel goes into the female slot. Make sure it's in there and then rotate it around. For the latch side, you're going to insert this cable retainer clip, the cable, push down, and you're having a completed assembly there. For the rears, you're just going to do the same thing, but with the shorter cable. There you have two completed assemblies. Now that you have the latches assembled, we'll go ahead and set aside the rear for now. It's the same process as the front, so we'll just show it on this door here. Basically, we want to take the entire assembly, drop it through the actuator hole all together. Let it hang from that end, and go ahead and tighten down your actuator here using a 5/64 Allen key. And that'll hold everything in place. We'll just go ahead and let this dangle for now. You're going to want to take your aluminum overlay, assuming your doors are already painted, but go ahead and install that using the 7 button head Allens provided for this side. The reason you want to go ahead and install this now is so when you put your latch hardware in, you don't forget to put this on and then have to disassemble this in a minute. So go ahead and get these added just loosely for now. Now that you have the latch assembly in the door, we're going to go ahead and fasten the latch. And to do that, we're going to use these 2 1/4 stainless steel socket head Allen cap screws, the 2 washers, Your two unthreaded spacers, these particular ones for the front are 3/4 of an inch. The rear will use 1 1/8" spacers. And then your two stainless steel 1/4-20 flange nylocks. And the easiest way we found to do this is put this forwardmost bolt in first, let the entire assembly rotate on that so you can get your other spacer in there. So first you're going to put the bolt in, and for these front doors, the latch is going to be all the way against the outside. Go ahead and put a nut on that so it doesn't want to slide out. And then for the front, now that you've got it rotating on that back hole, it's a little easier just to slide this in here. All right, you can go ahead and tighten that down using a 3/16 Allen and a 7/16 open-ended wrench. You want to tighten it down so there's no play in this at all. All right, now that you have your outside overlays on, your latches and actuators assembled, you'll need to install these bushings here. If you've purchased your doors as powder coated, these will come pre-installed, but if you're getting them coated yourself, you want to put them in after. These ones are already installed in this door for instructional video, but and the inner bushing housing will be welded in. This door here is still in the assembly process, so we haven't welded this in yet, but it'll serve its purpose for the instructional portion of the video. A quick little tip, basically you can press these in, they're a really tight fit. For example, these have basically no play. They're almost an interference fit, which is designed that way so there's no play in the door. But if you don't want to press them in, or you don't have a press at home, a quick little tip would be take a long enough bolt, a couple washers, and then you can start these with just a couple hand tools. They're tight fit, but they're not, anything crazy like a 10 thou press fit or something like that. So just a couple basic hand tools, 7/16 and a 3/8 here on this 1/4 inch bolt. We'll draw that right in. You'll do this side first. Once you get that side in, you'll pull this side off, put the other one in, and it should draw right in there. If you have any questions, just give us a call at the shop. Once everything's lined up here, with the bushing housing, which it should be pretty easy. They'll be installed when you get them, so this one's obviously not, so it makes it a little tougher to get lined up. But once it's installed, you just suck it down with a couple hand tools, and it'll go in nice and square. All right, you get that one all the way in. Then go ahead and back off your nut so you can put in the other side. Washer first, then the nut. Get it finger tight. Quick little note, this is your door stopper here, and this is the door stop mounting bracket. You're going to want to install these from the front into the weld nut on the back side. And there we got a little bit of adjustability in them, so you can adjust the angle of how far they open. That would be for your front doors. The rear doors only have one bin, but your rubber stopper is always going to go from the front side to the side with the weld nut on the back. All right, now that we've got the door all taken care of on the workbench, it's time to move on to the Jeep. What you're going to do is pre-install your hinges. For now, you're just going to leave them loose. There are left and right to the hinges as well. The easiest way to tell which side goes on which door, basically your upper hinges are going to have this bent tab here and then a welded smaller tab here. The welded smaller tab is always going to go to the outside. And then on your lower, they're a little different shape. They kind of are similar to the factory bracket, so you'll be able to tell which side they go on. But the side that's got a straight edge on the back, not the angle, is going to go towards the inside there. Take note on the uppers as well. There's cam slots here, and we're going to show you how to use those to adjust the door and align it here in a second. So we'll go ahead and put the door on here and work on getting it aligned. We're going to go ahead and install the door. You can see in this one it's already got the crush sleeve inside there, but you want to insert that before you try and install the door. The door is going to go inside of the clevis mount here. The easiest way to do it, this is a little bit easier when you have an extra set of hands, but you're going to use your 2 1/4 quarter 20 stainless steel socket head Allen and another quarter 20 flange stainless steel nylock. It's usually easier if the back is not hinged, so we'll go ahead and lift that out of the way. And this should be a tight fit here. You're going to want that so it doesn't have any play in the door. We're going to install the bolt from the outside in. With the door installed, we're going to want to go ahead and tighten up this hinge bolt here, which is going to be a 3/16 Allen and a 7/16 open-ended wrench. You're going to want to tighten this up nice and tight so there's no play in the door, and so it crushes the interior crush sleeve that you installed earlier. All right, with the door bolted up and the hinge mount tightened down, now you're going to want to adjust the door before you put the gas assist spring on. Now how we're going to do that, it's basically a pretty straightforward 3-step process. We'll kind of go through it here. The first thing you want to do, and this is why you don't want to put your gas spring on, so it's not trying to force it up into something you don't want it to. So basically, with your hinges still just hand tight for now, we want to open this and make sure it clears everything all the way to full lock on your stop there. And we actually got pretty lucky, and it looks like we cleared it. But if, and you don't want to slam this down without adjusting it yet, assuming you didn't get as lucky as we did and get it right the first time, what you're going to want to do is loosen up your upper and lower 2 bolts here. You're going to swing this open, and then right now it's rotated too far in. Essentially what you're looking for is you can rotate this out, and that's a little bit drastic there obviously, but just doing it to show so you can see it on camera there. But you're going to rotate it out till it clears all the way at full lock, and then when you get it somewhere where you're happy with it, go in with your wrench again, tighten down both the upper and lower, nice and snug, and set it down and see how it clears on your latch. We're pretty close there, but take a little bit more adjustment. So at this point, you can go ahead and reinstall your bumper or travel limiter if you removed it in the previous step, just to make easy adjustment of this without it falling off. So go ahead and do that now, and then show you how to adjust the latch. Essentially what you're doing there by adjusting this hinge and rotating it is, you can assume this door swings on one flat plane. If you just draw a straight line up and down, north to south, with this thing 90 degrees to the ground, this thing's going to swing in exactly that plane. So by loosening that and rotating it out just a little bit, you essentially are taking the top of that plane and rotating this way, so you get clearance here. Basically, it takes very little down here to equal a lot up here. An 1/8 of an inch adjustment here is 3 inches up here, just due to the way the geometry set up and math and science and things of that nature. So fortunately that's playing into our hands here. Where it doesn't play into our hands, if there's any movement here, it creates a lot of movement down here at the hinge as well. That's the reason we had to have a machined hinge door, so it's nice and rigid, so you don't have any play down here, so you get very, very little play down here, so you can actually align it with your latch. All right, now that we're happy with the door and how it clears the roof itself, we want to make sure that when it comes down and hits this latch or this striker, that it hits it dead in the middle and it's not, you know, left or right of it. So we're pretty close right there, but one thing you can do is you can come over to the hinge end, and they have slots in it, and you can move it left or right on that end, and that'll help you here. Or another option, it's a little bit easier, is just lift this out of the way, come in and crack your striker loose with a T45 Torx, and you'll see that you have about, I believe it's about 1/4 of an inch back and forth. You even have up and down as well, but you want to line that so the striker is going directly down into the hole in the center. And once you're happy with that, tighten those back down. And you can play with a combination here of adjustment with that and this end over here, the slots in that, and that'll give you until you get it dialed in. But you want to get it dialed in and make sure it's, you know, still clearing your roof and everything. And once you get those two elements going together, you can go ahead and install your strut here. So now that we've got the doors swinging in the proper plane and clearing everything and landing on the latch like we like to see, you're going to go ahead and install your strut. Again, this is going to stay loose for right now, but you want to install your ball strut adapter on the end here. And to do that, you're going to put it in with the ball towards the inside. You're going to use a 5/16 18 stainless steel flange nylock on one side, and you're going to need a 1/2 inch wrench and a 13 millimeter on this other side to get that tightened up. Go ahead and get that nice and tight. All right, next you're going to want to install your strut, which this is going to be the top end of your strut. It's going to go up into this hole here on the bottom of the door. We find it easiest to install it from the top first. Go ahead and get that side installed because you do have some spacers. There's a couple 3/8 spacers. We might put a picture of this in there, but they go on either side of the shock eye there, and then you're going to finish that up with a 5/16 bolt and another 5/16 stainless steel flange nylock. And this part's a little easier if you have another set of hands to just hold the door up so the strut can be fully extended here, but we'll go ahead and cut to that here in a second. But I'm going to get this installed in the door. I don't have another set of hands right now, so I'll have to hold this thing up somehow with a bungee cord or something, but we'll go ahead and get that installed and show you how to adjust this lower hinge next. We've got the strut in here with the 2 spacers. Now we got that in there, we just want to go ahead and get it tightened up. We're going to need a 1/4 Allen key and a 1/2 inch open-end wrench. So let's go ahead and get that nice and tight. Doesn't have to be crazy tight here, but just tight enough to keep it where it is. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and connect it to the ball socket down here. That's going to be easiest done with the door in its vertical position, so you have the least amount of compression you need to do on your gas spring here. And so we'll go ahead and get that hooked up and then show you how to adjust the lower bracket. The last thing you're going to want to do now that you got the strut installed with the bottom still loosely is cycle the door. Make sure that the strut here clears inside of this, since this is essentially flat and this needs to go up into this pocket with it all the way up. If it doesn't, then you can crack these nuts here loose, and then there's a slot in the bottom that'll allow you to rotate this bracket a little bit. Essentially, you're going to want to match the plane that the upper bracket's going, so both this strut and the door itself are all aligned and swinging in the same plane. Once you get that dialed in, you should have a good functioning door that's nice and crisp, opens, closes like it should. If you have any questions, just give us a call. You can reach us at the shop, either 909-792-9777, or shoot us an email through the website. That's www.fullmetalfabworks.com. Thanks, and enjoy your doors.